updating you on the governor speaking about the winter storm.
He's speaking right now. Let's go listen in.
The North Carolina Highway Patrol and Eric Hooks, who is the Secretary of our Department of Public Safety. I know families are a little bit frustrated, having been cooped up now for a couple of days with the kids out of school, but I wanted you to know that across North Carolina, people are working hard and we're making progress on clearing the roads. With the help of the sun and all the salt that's been laid down and the hard work of DOT crews, we should have our interstates and our main divided highways cleared by the end of the day today, with a lot of work on secondary roads on Friday. Remember that tonight it's going to get cold again, and so you're going to see areas freeze even on main roads and interstates, and so particularly watch bridges and overpasses. We're still telling people to not drive this afternoon, tonight, tomorrow morning. We're beginning to see a number of school closures for tomorrow, and we'll wait to see what that final number is. But we're going to continue working on the highways, and we want you to know that you can go download the NC Ready app and drive NC to be able to find real road conditions. There's still some people without power. It had gotten up to 31,000 at one point, but now we have 4,800 people without power in North Carolina, and we're in touch with the utility crews and continuing to push to get that situation squared away. We had a shelter open in Chatham County. They got a lot of snow over there. We had a number of people in the shelter there, but that shelter has closed as of this afternoon. I know that the North Carolina Highway Patrol has responded to a number of collisions and a number of calls. I'm going to let the commander of the Highway Patrol give you some details on that. But again, we're encouraging people to stay in, because when you get out on the road, you're putting Department of Transportation workers at risk. You're putting public safety workers who may have to rescue you at risk. And it's just not a time to learn to drive in the snow today. This has been a pretty extraordinary event for our state. To have so much snow all the way from the mountains to the coast in varying degrees, but in large degrees for our state, it has put our resources to the test, but people have responded, and we hope that Mother Nature will help us with our roads along with the good work of the DOT crews into the weekend. I'm going to first recognize Tim Little, Chief Engineer at Department of Transportation, to give you a little update on what they're doing out there with our roads. So, Tim? Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I'd like to reach out and thank all of our employees, the men and women who are out there working very hard to remove the snow. We've had many people that, did long hours in this snow removal, and as the governor alluded to, please be cognizant of them as they're doing their job, safety being our #1 goal. And if you don't have to be out on the roadway, please don't, because it'll help us in our operations a little bit better. Today we have over 2,400 employees that are out removing snow, and 1,500 snow plows and 700 contract trucks. And to date we put over 44,000 tons of salt on our roadways, with 6,000 tons of salt sand mixture, so we use that mixture when you're trying to have traction where you're not going to have melting right away. As the governor alluded to, we also today interstates and our 4-lane divided primaries should be in good shape by the end of the day. Many of them are down to bare pavement now, but at the end of the day we should be over most of those. We'll transition to our 2-lane primaries and then secondaries after that. And by Friday afternoon we should have a good hold on many parts of the state in those areas. The stubborn areas, especially in the middle part of the state, some of those operations will move on into the weekend, but hopefully Mother Nature's helping us out a whole lot this time with warmer temperatures and a lot of sunshine. We should be wrapping up by Saturday. Also, that our salt storage is doing well. We've had to move some of that around a little bit, but we'll be fine for the rest of this storm. And we're receiving those deliveries on a daily basis. So that, and also we're moving crews within divisions right now. And we also have moved some crews from other divisions to Division 5. I think we've got 10 trucks coming from Division 3, which is around the Wilmington area, and some from Division 4, which is around the Wilson area, to help with some of their operations, because those areas won't hit quite as hard. But with that, that's a wrap-up of our operations, and I'll gladly take any questions now or after we get done.
We'll do it at the end of
Thanks, sir.
At the end of this. Thank you, Tim. And it is important to make sure, now that we know where the snow events are and where it's worse, we can move some resources around to make sure we get to the places that are the worst and address those. I'm now going to recognize Colonel Glenn McNeil, the commander of the North Carolina Highway Patrol, to tell you a little bit about what our troopers are encountering out there. Colonel McNeil.
Thank you, Governor, and good afternoon. As the Governor alluded to, we're not out of the woods yet. We still have some very dangerous roads, and we are concerned about refreezing on tonight, and that will make our commute in the morning very dangerous. So if you have to drive, please proceed with caution. Throughout the course of the storm, the Highway Patrol has investigated 2,697 collisions and a total of 4,223 calls for service as a result of this winter storm. Today we've experienced several high-impact collisions on our interstates that included I-77, I-85, and I-95. On I-77, northbound lanes were impacted due to high winds, overturning tractor-trailers just inside of Virginia from North Carolina. A high wind warning is in effect until 5 p.m. today in that area. I-85 experienced several lane closures throughout the course of the day in Orange County and Warren County due to tractor-trailer collisions. I-95 northbound was closed for approximately 1 hour in Johnston County as a result of a collision involving a tractor-trailer. At this time, I'm pleased to report that all of our interstate highways, as a result of the aforementioned collisions, have been reopened. We remain persistent in saying, please stay off the roadways today and tonight unless absolutely necessary. And I want to thank local law enforcement and our state troopers for the phenomenal work that they've done over the last 2 days, trying to keep our motoring public as safe as we possibly can. Let's please everyone do their part and stay off the roadways to allow DOT and our utility crews to be able to do their work and to return our roadways and everything back to normal as soon as we possibly can. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. Our first responders, law enforcement officers, DOT workers are doing extraordinary work out there, and we're grateful for them every time an event like this happens. I also want to thank the public, because for the most part, you've done a pretty good job at staying home, staying indoors, and staying off the roads. We have had people getting out there and with not good results sometimes, but we know that the significantly reduced traffic that we've had because people have stayed home, because things have closed, that's been positive for us in helping us get the roads cleared and helping keep more people safe. I think the fact that the public has responded has helped to make sure we've reduced fatalities and injuries that we've had. So any of us now can take any questions that you might have.
Thanks for for keeping the media updated. We get a lot of calls and emails from neighbors, residents. They constantly hear this talk about secondary roads. We're going to get to them eventually. Can you detail for us exactly what that means for people living in subdivisions around Wake County and across our area?
Well, first, the Department of Transportation wants to make sure that the main routes, the primary roads, the interstates are open. North Carolina is #2 in the country in mileage of state-maintained highways, second only to Texas. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done just to clear the primary roads. One of the reasons we tell people to stay home is because it takes a while to get to a lot of the secondary roads because of the work on the primary roads. And even though it may be perfectly safe on the interstates and the main roads, getting to those is difficult, and getting out of neighborhoods and communities is difficult because of the secondary roads. They're going to be doing a lot of work on secondary roads tomorrow, and we hope to get a boost from Mother Nature tomorrow in that we expect sunshine and even warmer temperatures. And we'll be able to tell you a little bit toward the end of the day tomorrow about how safe it will be Friday night and Saturday morning, because we don't know for sure how much work can get done. We don't know how much melting is going to occur. You just got to remember that anytime the temperatures drop below freezing and there is some water on the highway, that's an issue. Tim, do you have anything to augment that or you would want to say about that?
Just to reiterate some of the governor's comments, our policy has been interstates, major four-lane divided, because they carry the majority of the traffic, and also they move goods and services, because we get a lot of calls. You know, we're an on-demand life now, and if somebody's needing medical supplies, being oxygen, insulin, or whatever, it may be on demand. We want those major routes to be open so those goods and services can move. Then we transition to major secondary roads, to the secondary roads that carry the majority of our traffic, and then we get to the ones that are lower volume. And by that way, we can move a lot of people by doing the major roads first, but we eventually transition into those secondary road areas.
Governor, in asking those folks to stay home, which they did and did a good job. The roads are getting better, but it is going to be freezing again overnight. Are you asking the public tomorrow morning to stay off the roads as well?
In most areas of the state. Now, we had varying degrees of snow accumulation across North Carolina. People need to use their good judgment, but we do know that in the central part of the state, particularly, that it will get very cold tonight, that clearly that DOT has not had the opportunity to get to all of the roads, so there will be roads that will be icy. And even the roads that have been cleared, when it goes down to below freezing tonight, there will be black ice issues. So we're asking people to stay home, stay off of the roads, particularly until it gets warm tomorrow, because these roads can be treacherous. That snow is beautiful out there, but these roads can be very treacherous, and we want to make sure that people are safe. And we're still advising that unless you have to get on the road, that you not do that tonight and in the morning in these areas that have been affected. Some areas across the state have been able to clear out pretty well. For example, the snow hit the western part of the state first, and crews had been working on clearing those roads, so things may be a little better out there. Some of the areas in the southeastern part of the state that did not get as much snow, things may be a little bit better there. But in a large swath of our state, we got a lot of snow, much more than usual. And even though the DOT may come through and clear a main road, things can refreeze the night and can get dangerous. Any other questions? Yes.
Because the storm affected so much of the state at the same time, did the storm present any unique challenges in terms of shifting and reallocating resources since so many people needed so much help?
I think the challenges were that you really couldn't shift resources earlier on in the process because every part of the state was subject to some pretty significant snow. So all of the DOT crews had to essentially stay in place to take care of their own areas. Today, the DOT has been able to do some shifting of resources because some of the areas have been pretty well cleared, and they've been able to do that today. But the challenge of this storm was that it was statewide, it was significant, and even though it wasn't snowing in eastern North Carolina yet, and even though you might have been tempted to move some of those resources to the central and the west, you knew it would begin snowing in eastern North Carolina. And sure enough, in the Outer Banks and the coastal area, they got 7 to 10 inches. So we knew that this would be a statewide event. It's one of those unusual snows where almost all of North Carolina got it. A lot of the kids had never seen snow this deep before. So I know people had a good time in it. It's a beautiful snow, but we got to remember how dangerous it can be. And we want North Carolina to get back to work and back to school, and hopefully through this weekend people can work and the weather will help us, and we'll be for sure ready to get back to work on Monday morning and back to school on Monday morning. That's what we hope. I can't guarantee that. We don't know for sure what will happen, but that's the hope.
Governor, you've asked people to cancel events. Of course, we're in basketball country, and the state Wake Forest game is going on tonight. What is your message tonight? I think you've asked people to stay home and watch it on television. Of course, you can watch it at WRL. But what is your message, then?
The message would be, the question was about the basketball game, North Carolina State Wake Forest basketball game, which they have decided to play. I think empty seats are fine, and I think television is a great place to watch a game, because we don't want to risk people's lives. There are going to be people out there working, law enforcement working. I'm encouraging people to stay home. I know that some people are going to go, but the fewer that go, the safer it will be. And I think a lot of people will heed that advice and not go tonight and just stay home and have a cup of hot chocolate and watch it on the tube. Any other questions? All right.
Budget for salt,
Yep.
really quickly. I think Tim alluded to that we're okay, but I mean,
Yep.
2 storms
Yeah.
in 2 weeks. Is it stretching the budget? Are we going to have to reallocate some funds if we get these storms coming in?
I know that this has been a resource strain. The good thing is that we've had good planning. I think that North Carolina has one of the best, if not the best, coordination of emergency management in the country. We have local, state, and federal who work together constantly. They practice. There's great communication. And we plan for these events and plan for them in our budgets, recognizing that that kind of thing is going to happen. And we want to make sure that we can address whatever needs that there are. But after all of this is over, our fiscal people will look at it and we'll see if there's any additional appropriations that's needed. But I think we all had it covered with resources and feel confident about that and confident in our ability to respond to emergencies in North Carolina.
Thank you, Governor.
And thank you very much. We appreciate it.
All right, and that was Governor Roy Cooper providing an update on the winter storm, asking people do not drive, concerned about what has already melted today, refreezing. And he's saying you're putting our workers in jeopardy as well. So, again, advising everyone, please do not drive if you don't have to.
And it's been a treacherous situation for the state, with nearly 3,000 collisions reported that they've responded to, the state troopers. So what he's saying, though, is that the DOT, they will have all the main roads cleared by tonight and many secondary roads tomorrow. But even though it's at the pavement, with the freezing temperatures overnight, there's an issue of black ice as well as refreezing. So again, stay at home if you don't have to go out. We will have much more on the entire situation coming up tonight on the news at 5 o'clock.
Before we go to break, though, I want to talk about some of the school closings that we have tomorrow. Durham County, Lee County, Chapel Hill, Carrboro City Schools, and also Chatham County have already closed school for tomorrow. We'll continue to update you on CBS North Carolina online at WNCN.com.